Good evening and welcome to our live crafting session this evening. My name is Jenny McCormack. It's it's not Monday. It's Thursday, the 19th of October 2023. Good evening to you all. So I'm coming to you live from Brackley in Northamptonshire here in the UK. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator and I run this live session on a Monday morning and a Thursday evening, and it is also based on the stamp set that I've chosen for our stamp set of the week, which may incorporate other products, and I'm just actually looking for the stamp set that I require, which I had in my hand not 2 seconds ago. Here it is. Oh dear. Maybe I should just start again. So good evening to you. So we're using Beary Cute or Beary Cute. Oh, I'm sorry about the reflection. Just going to turn my overhead light off actually, because that can throw some extra shadows which we don't need adding to that. So we used this as our stamp set of the week, and we used it at Coffee and Card, and I'm just going to grab some samples from Coffee and Card just to show you, and then I'll show you the step cut version. Hi Teresa, I hope you're okay. I know things aren't too good for you at the moment. So let me show you what we did at Coffee and Card. So just using the polar bears and the trees and some of the assorted extras from the stamp set, and I matched it with some of the Christmas papers. This has obviously lost its Christmas somewhere in my bag. Oh dear, hey ho. So there we have. So I've used very vanilla because that's the colours in the papers. Hi Yuta, thanks for joining us this evening. I hope you're keeping well. Just going to find us on my phone. She says. There we go. Right, so we have this one here with the background papers. Oh yes, it does. It's very much jumper-like, isn't it? And very Scandinavian. So this is the polar bear with the two little parcels. This one has been stamped, coloured in and cut and put on the top. Hi Carol from Florida. I hope you're keeping well, my dear. For those of you that don't know, I met Carol over in Florida when I was attending the Stampin' Up backstage event back in August. Goodness me, what a long time ago. This one here uses the papers, and in each case we've punched out this polar bear with the coordinating punch. And then this one I've stamped the large polar bear and the baby polar bear and cut the sentiment out to put it on the top, and then just added the baby polar bear and some snowflakes on the inside. Now I recently had a customer all day event, and prior to that a team all day event, and the card that I designed, which was also the card I used for my swaps at backstage, is this one here. And so I've added in quite a few elements. You could keep this very simple, but I wanted to add in a few more elements. So for this one we've got some backing paper, which I've used one of our masks, this one here, which comes from our set of masks, to add the snowflakes. You could also have just stamped those, but I like the effect that the mask gave, so I'm going to recreate that for you. I've got a piece of torn off balmy blue card, and both of those have been put through our embossing folder. This is the Snowflake Sky, and I appreciate you can't see much of that detail at all. You just about make out the snowflakes, but it has an all over snowflake design. I've got a piece of vellum which I've also put through the embossing folder, and the punched out polar bear, and then some of that lovely ribbon and the Merry Christmas from the stamp set. So I'm going to recreate this one for you, hopefully not with too many interruptions of any kind. So I started with a base white card. This is half an A4, so cut at 14.85 centimetres and scored down the centre at 10.5 centimetres. And I'm going to be using a piece of white card, a piece of balmy blue card that I'm just going to tear and put across there, and then I'm going to use the stencil. So I'm going to do that first, and let's just pop a piece of grid paper on my table, pop my card down. Now if you don't have a lot of strength, or you prefer to have this held down a bit better, you could put it on the Stamparatus or a stamp positioning tool with some magnets. You could also just use some tape, and you can do the same with the stencil. Now sometimes I like to move the stencil around to get different elements, but I think this is just bigger than a standard size card, so it's going to work perfectly for our purposes. So I'm just going to add a little bit of tape on there. Just washi tape is perfect. And I have a blue blending brush. It's got some ink on it already, but I will bring in some balmy blue ink. This one here matches the cardstock. Hope everybody can see that okay, and I hope you can hear me okay. You two well done from, I'm guessing, back in from work. Okay, so I'm just loading this up with a little bit more balmy blue, and I don't clean my blending brushes in between, as you can see. I just keep them as generic. So this is blue, I've got a couple of blue ones, I've got some green, purple, red, pink, yellow, brown and grey. And there's really no need to clean them unless you wanted a really, really light colour, or you wanted one for every colour. I didn't feel the need for that. So just going to hold this down, and then just with a circular motion adding these snowflakes in. As I said, you can move this around, but this is perfectly sized for a card. And just doing this motion all the way around. Now there's little dots as well as snowflakes, so if you don't want those, you can sort of avoid that section. And I'm just going to bring this down, not right to the bottom, because I know that I'm going to put my balmy blue piece on top, but just make sure I haven't really got any gaps. Obviously you can go back and add it in, and if you wanted to, you could introduce another colour of blue and do, for example, you know, a couple of these snowflakes in a different colour, or just ink up a darker blue and add that in. Okay, let's see what that looks like. So what I like to do is try and keep the stencil and everything in place. So just lift it up, have a look and make sure I haven't got any sort of half finished snowflakes. And if you have, you can just drop it back down just reposition it if you need to, and then add. So this is quite light on this side, so I'm just going to add a little bit more ink on the left hand side. So I love these stencils, or masks as they get called in the Stampin' Up world, but they are effectively stencils. Okay, so there is my backing design. And then what I would do is, if I was doing a lot of this and it was very inky, I would just pop it in a bowl with some washing up liquid and just wipe it off. You could just use a baby wipe, or you could use a chamois. So, and the main reason for doing that is that you don't then put it back, pick it up another time, turn it over, and then transfer any remaining ink onto your pristine project. Okay, so that's my background. As I said, you could just stamp the snowflakes from the stamp set if you wanted to. It's got two lovely snowflakes on there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've cut this, hopefully, not that way, to roughly the same size, and I'm just going to tear this like so, and that's going to go on the bottom here to look like snow. Now you could easily use a couple of layers of white. You could also sort of layer that up like so if you wanted to, so have multiple layers. You could put the snow on here as well if you wanted to with the mask, but what I'm going to do is put those two together. This is going to be the right size for our card. This is 10 centimeters by 14.35, so this will give me a small border all the way around the edge. So what I'm going to do is attach those two together and then put it through my embossing folder. And it's this one here, and it is called Snowflake Sky. It's a 3D embossing folder, so the elements within here are different heights, so you get a really 3D effect, a really great 3D effect. So let me put that away. What I am going to do is stamp my sentiment first, because I'm going to put this through the embossing folder. And if I haven't stamped my sentiment, then it's going to be very difficult to stamp it with the snowflakes on. So I'm going to use this Merry Christmas from here. There it is. And I'm going to grab a block and a darker blue. So Yuta says, so clever, she'll try that. I wonder what that referred to. Sorry Yuta, I didn't see when you posted it. That's the fun and games, isn't it, with live, is if you're not watching and there's a delay. So I'm going to add my Merry Christmas down there. Let's see. I'll go for Pretty Peacock just for a change. Just going to try this out on here. Yep, happy with that. There we go. Okay, so now I can attach these two together and put the whole thing through my embossing folder. So let me pop some glue on there. So your glue of choice. Oh, the embossing after stamping. Got you. Sorry about that. Okay, so a little bit of glue. I like to use the wet glue, but you could use double-sided tape if you prefer, or snail or seal, or a tape runner. Okay, so there's my background layer, and I'm going to pop it through here. And you can't, it's very difficult to show you there is a photograph of it here, so I don't know if you can see, but the top here has got a lot more dots of snow, and then it thins out as you get towards the bottom. I'm not sure that you can see that particularly well in that picture. So what you can do is choose which part of the embossing folder you want to use. So I can see here there's a lot more snow here, a lot less snow at the top. So because this is going in my whole card, I could choose to have the detailed snow at the bottom or at the top. I'm going to have it at the bottom because it probably show up better on my blue. So I'm going to run that through. And the only plate I need with the base plate is the embossing plate, because it's a 3D one. So my sandwich, if you've got a Stampin' Up cut and emboss machine, is the base plate number 1, my embossing folder complete with the elements inside, and then number 4. And always make sure that when you put an embossing folder through, you have the fold as the first thing that goes through. Okay, if you have it this way around, it can split, especially if you've got something thick inside. There's a lot of pressure on this folder here, and if you put it with the fold at the bottom, what can happen is the pressure builds up and then it will split here. You can still use it. It just doesn't look quite as pretty when it's in 2 pieces. Yes, just like the snow falling, she's got it. So pop those through. There we go. So if I bring it up, I'm not sure how much of that you can see, whether indeed you can see it at all, but fine at the top, more detailed at the bottom. If I put the plain one next to it, you might be able to see the difference. Maybe not. I'll try and do a close-up when I photograph it. Okay. Yes, it all fell off. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is wrap around some ribbon and place this onto our card, and then all I need to do is add our polar bear. Not sure that was the best decision actually. A pretty peacock. Never mind. Okay, now I love this ribbon. This is the silver and white sheer ribbon, and it makes great bows because it's so thin. It's very light, it goes really flat, there's no weight to it at all, as you can see. So lots of different ways you can do this. You can just wrap a little bit round like so, and then tie a pretend bow, which is what I'm going to do. You could of course just wrap the whole thing round and do a bow that way, like so. Well, perhaps I'll do that just for a change. And if you can, try and leave the ribbon on the roll, and then you minimise any wastage. Okay, now this really does make good bows. I mean, I have a lot of practice in bows, but I can still make a really bad one. But this just makes it, because it's thin and sheer, there's no bulk or anything. Normally what I would have done is just wrapped it round the back with a little bit of tape, but that's rather nice. This is the faux bow, so this is just wrapped around and then just knotted that piece on the top. So So this is going to go onto our background card. You could make this slightly smaller and put a coloured layer between, or a silver layer or something if you wanted to. Right, I happen to have a lot of circles in vellum because I pre-cut some ready for our event, and maybe you can see there the one on the right is the one that's got a small amount of snow. The one on the left has got a lot more snow, so this was higher up in the embossing folder and this was lower down. But all I did was punch out a circle and then put a whole set of them in the embossing folder at the same time, so they're in different parts of the embossing folder. So it doesn't really matter which one of those I use. It's really pretty, isn't it, Yuta? So that's, I'm going to stick that onto there. My little layer of vellum is going to go there, and then the last thing we need to do is stamp and punch out our coordinating polar bear. And just hunting for the punch. Make sure I have it. Have I got a piece of white? Yeah, that would just about fit. I think like using a bit of scrap up. So I want to punch this one out, but also you could stamp either of those and fussy cut those out. The punch only does the bear. Hello Brenda. Lovely to have you join us. I hope you're feeling okay after your recent set of infusions. Alright, let's have a look. Okay, so what you want to do with the bear is make sure, that's the wrong one, make sure you've got the right one to start with. Yep, it's always a good point, because that one won't fit the punch, Jenny. But you want to let the bear relax. If you, because it's photopolymer, and because the middle is cut out to stop you getting ink everywhere, it's very easy, and I'm going to exaggerate this, it's very easy to put this down and find your bear is misshapen and then doesn't fit your punch. Oh, brilliant, Carol. Really pleased. Do share your finished one with us, won't you? So what you want to do is just allow your photopolymer stamp to sit and rest on your table, and then put your block straight down onto it, and then you know that it will fit your punch. Let's just grab a grey. I've got Pebbled Path here. This one will do. So I'm just going to ink that up. Sorry if that's just off camera. And hopefully there's enough space to pop him or her on there. And you can add a little bit of detail if you want to this. So you could use a light grey Stampin' Light marker, so something like Smoky Slate. You could also use Blends pen. So I have got here Light Balmy Blue, which is the same colour as my card. Take my glasses off. And let me just move that out of the way for a minute because it's reflecting little bits. And you can just add a little bit of detail where there would be some natural shading. Okay, like so. But also just around the edge of the bear. Now you can make these into brown bears. They don't, of course, have to be polar bears. And all you would do for that is just stamp them in a dark brown and then colour them in, or stamp them onto some brown card, for example. So just adding an outline, and then what I'll do is use my colour lifter just to soften those edges, and you'll see the difference between the two. So just going around the edge fairly quickly, just a slight brushing motion like so. And so you really don't have to do this, you can just leave it exactly as is. But it just gives it a little bit of character. If I put this one up, you see the difference? Hopefully you can. And then I'm just going to use our colour lifter. So this is like a bit like a bleach pen. It's not got bleach in it, I promise. But it will lighten anything it comes into contact with that's alcoholic. So all I'm going to do is just run this along that inside edge, just to soften it. Now I don't think you will see a great deal of difference online. In person you'll see it. So if I've got another colour lifter, I don't think there's much in that one. It's a bit better. I just run it on my hand, and then you can see the moisture on there. So just running this over the edge. Now these bears have been really, really popular, and obviously you have the beautiful papers that go with it, but you can also just buy the stamp set or just buy the bundle. There we go. So that's just softening the edge like so. Okay, let's punch him out, or her. So just take your time to line it up. Okay, there is a little bit of a border all the way around, and just mind you don't pinch your hands. I have to say I love using punches. They're just so take a bit of time to line up, but then they're so quick you haven't got to sort of feed them through. So this is going to go on top of my layer there, and then I'm going to add my polar bear in on top. So let's put this layer together. So I can't believe it's 7:30 on Thursday already. My car went in for its annual MOT and failed miserably. Oh dear, that's the way it goes, isn't it? So I'm just looking at how much it's going to cost to get it all sorted. Luckily, my son has a spare car. So the next thing I'm going to do is, when I've finished here, is go online and transfer my insurance to his car while I get it taxed as well. Okay, and then so get it sorted. So this is just going to go onto there. Now you can put this on with foam pads, our dimensionals, or you can have it flat. It's entirely up to you. And then this one is going to go on top. I think what I'm going to do is probably put that flat. Just put a little bit of glue where the polar bear is going to go, because you won't see it. And in fact, if you use our white glue sparingly, you won't see it through the vellum anyway, especially on white. Okay, so I'm just going to hold that there for a second, because obviously vellum is non-porous, so the glue will just sit on the outside for a little while. So just give it a minute for it to take hold. and then my polar bear is going to go onto there, and he's going to, or she is going to go on with dimensionals. I happen to have got some little strips here, so I'll put one across that element and then cut this one into some smaller pieces for the legs. So I've got one in there. Just don't get too near the edges, you don't really want to see the dimensionals. Yes, oh no, it's not quite what I said, Utah. It was like, oh, do I need to get a new car? And I really don't want to get a new car. Okay, it might be that I end up buying my son's car off him. Okay, so this is going to go onto there. And then we can add a little bit of bling. Just peeling those off, sorry. Really should put my glasses on, then I can see what you can see. Ah, that's better. Just move these out of the way a bit. Hi Carol, thank you for joining us. It was lovely to catch you live the other day. Okay, so there's our polar bear. This is the vellum behind, and then this has been stenciled, and then the whole thing put through the embossing folder, and then I've added that little ribbon around it before I put it all together. And then also you can stamp your sentiment on the inside. So this has got Christmas is better together. You've got Merry Christmas and Warm Wishes, or you could put any other Christmas sentiment on there. Just looking to see if I've got something a little bit more bold to hand. What have I got? So from Festive and Fun, I've got May Your Season Be One that's festive and fun. Let's put that on. I haven't used that very much. And then I might add another little polar bear on the inside. Okay, let's grab a block. I think I'm going to stamp that in Pebbled Path. Open it up. I'm going to see how straight this is on my block. Let's line up the bottom of the block with my grid line. Slightly down on the left. It's better. I'm going to put this in the middle. Raise it slightly on the left hand side. There we go. And then let's put polar bear on the bottom. Oh yes, it is, Yuta, you're quite right. So let's pop said solar bear, polar bear even on here. Like that one. Could add the little one as well, why not? Little one's going in the same direction, and then the other one goes, the sitting bear goes the other way. So let's have one with the little baby. And there we go, and I am going to add those to the envelope as well. Just it on there. And there we have it. So a little bit more of a stepped up version from our coffee and card designs, and I do like to keep them quite different and separate. So these ones are on vanilla. This one sadly had a bit of an accident. Somebody dropped an ink pad on it, but that's just one of those things. So these ones are just stamped on a circle, and then I've used papers and or the snowflake stamp in the backing. Hopefully you can see those all okay. And that one there, without its Christmas. I need to find that at the bottom of the bag. And let's just put the polar bear on the envelope. Oh, and bling, that's the lot. I knew there was something else. So let's just finish it off and we're all done. So thank you so much. I have released our class in a box for October. So details for that went out yesterday. If you're not on my email list and you would like to be, then just comment here or send me an email. Put that one on there, and if I'm going to get 3 in there, I'm going to have one with 2 little ones following, just because they're so cute. There we go. How adorable. Okay, so there's my polar bear on the back. There's that one there on the front. And here's my finished card. Ah, White Christmas, yes. But you could recreate this really with any image, whether it's a polar bear, it could be a tree. Yeah, it could be a snowman. Has White Christmas got a snowman? Is that what you're using, Carol, I wonder? But this polar bear set is very cute. So there is our finished card. And our matching envelope. Oh, small polar bear, okay. Yes, I vaguely remember, but yes, you could replicate that with anything. So as I said, it could be a Christmas tree, snowman, penguin, if you've got any of the penguin sets that we had. Trying to think what else we had. Rabbits, yeah, all sorts of things. You could use that same layout of 2 layers or even 1 layer, embossing folder, and then an embossed piece of vellum, or you could use paper. Ah, that's okay, Teresa. Yes, definitely let the stamp rest. Somebody tried to put it on their block and then stamp it and then wondered why it didn't fit. And it can only be out a little bit, but then you want a nice even area around. So there we go. Thank you so much indeed. I'm just going to switch cameras so I can say goodbye to you properly. So hi everybody. So thank you so much for joining me. It's always lovely to have people join me live. And I will be back on Monday morning at 10 AM. Sorry, I can see my glasses reflecting. Sit up like that. I'll be back here at 10 AM UK time, and with our new stamp set of the week. Actually, it's not a stamp set of the week. It's going to be the masks that we used, that you saw the snowflakes on today. We're going to do the sunflowers, but I will be featuring all of the masks next week. So there's a pack of, I want to say 7 masks. So lots of different ideas for those, and they're just £10. Really great value, and you can use them over and over again. So thank you so much. It's lovely to have you join me. I'm off to get on to my insurance company straight from here, get everything sorted, so I've got wheels for tomorrow. Thank you so much everyone. Do take care, and it's lovely to have you join me. I hope you have a great evening, morning, afternoon, depending on when you're watching. Thank you. Take care. Bye for now.